Welcome everybody to this week's KubeVirt community meeting. It is the 5th of February 2025. I hope you're having a good time. Do we have anyone this week who is new to this meeting or may not be new but hasn't taken the opportunity to introduce themselves? I'll take that as a no. Okie dokie, let's have a quick check in on our schedule. We are rapidly approaching our feature freeze, which is next week. And then in the 5th of March, we have our version 1.5 release. I'm going to use that to segue to the point that I've raised on the agenda, which is that I'd like to have the KubeVirt version 1.6 unconference on Tuesday, Wednesday, the 25th, 26th of February. This is in 3 weeks' time. If those are particularly bad for a large group of people, we'll move it. If no one has a problem with that, I'll send out an email today with links. I've mostly finished putting together the, we'll use HedgeDoc again. It seemed adequate from last time. We will be, rejigging it just a little bit. Hopefully now that we understand how unconference is and we're comfortable with the whole raising of topics, voting, and then just taking it on ourselves. Day one will be a lot like day two. We won't split into different SIGs. We'll all come together in one room for the first 15 minutes to have a look at what the list of topics are, to vote on them, to break them out into the different rooms if need be, and then people can shift between the rooms as needed, and continue to add topics for later that day and for day two as well. So that's the plan. I'll put that into an email. I'll send that out. Yeah, that's all I have to say about that. Do I have any questions? Good. We have CFP. So the new one on the board this week is Open Source Summit North America, which I didn't realize about until someone mentioned it at FOSDEM. It is unfortunately coming up. It's in 12 days, the CFP, February 17th. It will be in Denver, Colorado, June 23rd, 25th. I don't think KubeVirt has had much of a presence at any of the open source summits. I might be mistaken on that. And so I don't really have much to go on, but having talked to a few people from the Linux Foundation at FOSDEM over the weekend, it sounds like something that might be worth us being at. So if you are going to be or can be in or near Denver, Colorado in June, please consider representing KubeVirt there. And I might be able to set you up with a small amount of swag if need be to help out. There's also KubeCon, Cloud Native Con India, which will be in Hyderabad, August, and Container Days later in the year in September. And I've added our presence for the Maintainer Summit and KubeCon, Cloud Native Con to the upcoming conferences. If you're giving a talk or know about a conference that has an open CFP, please let me know. I'll add it here and we can promote it to other people.
Hi, Andrew. You're not just speaking to the void. We're actually listening to you, by the way. Hey, it's too late for this year because their CFP closed in November, but I was just reminded of the Southern California Linux Expo. This is a really big conference in California, Linux-oriented. It's not a venue I think we've ever ventured into before, but just so that you're aware it exists.
Southern California Linux Expo.
Link in the chat.
Ah, perfect. Thank you. I'm going to quickly have a look. Scale. I hear Josh Boykus talk about this. It sounds very cool. Cool. So its CFP is already closed, has it?
Yes.
Boo. Oh, it's in March. Okay, yeah, that makes more sense. I thought it was later in the year. All right, 1st of November. Yep. Thanks for bringing that up. So we'll shift into the open floor, and Eddie, I think this is going to be yours about SIG network.
Yes, I just wanted to mention that it happened eventually, like after a few months that we planned for it. It actually happened, and we had a small discussion there. And if anyone wants to talk about network-related stuff, it's a good place to meet once every 2 weeks. So that's it. It's on. Yeah, sorry. It's on Tuesday.
Sorry.
Yes. Sorry.
Are you able to send me the details or put them into the agenda? So other people can see them, and I can put them on the calendar, the KubeVirt calendar.
Oh yes. Okay. I'll update it with.
Cool. And
I'll update you.
How did it go in like having a Slack-based SIG meeting? Eddie?
Oh, sorry. I want to say that we had only one person engaging, but it went pretty well. Let's see how it goes the next one.
Look forward to hearing about it. Alrighty, I'm going to guess that this is Alay. Has the next point on DRA?
Yeah. Yeah, I just wanted to follow up on that. I think we discussed this proposal many times. There has been back and forth, and I think finally is awaiting another round of discussion. So I just wanted to ask, what are the next steps here? Maybe we should set up a call like last time to carry forward the discussion. Just want to hear folks' thoughts on this.
Sounds like a good idea to me to initiate another meeting.
Yeah, sounds good.
In that case, Andrew, can you help me out with setting up a call Monday or Tuesday next week?
Sure can. From memory, the DRA meeting was on Tuesdays, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do we just want to use the same, does that time work for everyone? If I pull it out and throw it in next Tuesday?
I think it should work for everyone.
Cool. All right. I'll dig that out of the calendar, create it for next week, and shoot you an email.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Alay. I forgot to put something on the open floor. I missed the email. I was reminded of it from the CNCF this morning. Google Summer of Code 2025 deadline is next week. And we are looking for interested mentors and project ideas. If you are interested and I'm not already talking to you because you were involved last year, please let me know. I'll add you to the conversation. And if you're interested, but you only want to find out more, I recommend you reach out to our last year's mentors, pardon me, Liche, Lubo, Antonio, and Victor. Yeah, so the deadline is February 11th. And so we're trying to get some project ideas now that are good for that. And for the moment, that's all we have to do. Put forward a couple of issues in our GitHub, write them there, and then I can apply as an organization.
Andrew?
Any questions? Yep.
Yeah. Do we want to have a public list at least for the community for all the ideas, or do we want just to brainstorm between us?
Good question.
Maybe a mailing list thread could be nice.
Sounds great.
Would you send it, or should I?
I mean, I'd prefer it if you did it, but I can also do it after this meeting.
I'm a bit busy, so if you can do it, I will reply with a lot of enthusiasm.
Okay. Are you insinuating that I'm not busy?
Hmm?
I can do it. Don't worry.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah, so I'll send that. So if you've got project ideas, please add to that. What I might do as well is create a Google Doc from the in the KubeVirt organization, and then anyone in KubeVirt Dev should be able to add to that. Are there any other questions regarding Google Summer of Code? Okay. We have a couple of pull requests. I didn't put these here, so who did?
It was me. My bad. My fault. So basically, this PR is about updating the documentation, the user guide documentation. Some time ago, we merged a couple of PRs, one of them changing the usage of feature gates related with VirtUFS related stuff. And also we managed also to enable a live migration while sharing devices and stuff with VirtUFS. So the purpose of this PR is to update the documentation accordingly to the current state of the feature.
All right, I can take a look at that. And it looks like you've already pinged me on there. Sorry for the delay.
It's okay. Thanks a lot.
And another anonymous follow-up. Felix.
Yeah, I'd like to stay anonymous, sorry. Yeah,
Mr. X.
Follow up to. Yeah, Mr. X and Mr. X. Call me that, please. Last week, I proposed to drop the local SSH client, flag, and the native SSH client in rootctl. And so this is just a follow-up, deprecating the local SSH flag and enabling the local SSH client by default. So if people are opposed to it, then I think now's the time to speak up.
Felix, why the Golang is not the Golang version is not suggested, recommended?
There are several small issues with it. For example, SSH agent is sort of broken. Then we had issues with wait, what was the other issue? I think with names of the virtual machines, and also with something like escape sequence is not working. So in general, a lot of stuff which you would find in a typical SSH client like OpenSSH doesn't work or works subtly differently. And so I would suggest to just use the SSH client which is on the machine. If you enable the local SSH, then from a user's perspective, this is a transparent change. You won't notice it really. So I would suggest to drop the native client.
So this is one step further than just defaulting to the local SSH. This is actually on the path to getting rid of the Golang version.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if the Golang is not really well supported, I personally trust more the local SSH, but it means also that you need to have it installed. Felix, did you already send a note in KubeVirt eval about this?
No, but
Yeah,
yeah,
might
I'll
be a good.
follow up on that.
Felix Alicia raises a good point, though, that maybe it would be worth keeping the Golang around as a fallback. Understood the, security ramifications of keeping a, piece of code around that we don't often use. But if you don't have SSL on your machine, which can happen in some cases, you're not able to do this, right?
Yeah, if you don't have OpenSSH, then it won't work. That's right.
Yeah, you can also compile it out. So, I mean, I understand that's additional code for upstream, but at least for downstream, you can remove that.
Yeah. Also, I'm not sure if we support virtcatl to run it on Mac or on Windows. It may be also an impact. So
we absolutely do. We build it as a 3-way RPM, and it is shipped as a binary for Linux distributions, which of course is statically compiled. Mac and Windows are all targets that we produce.
Well, yeah, in that manner, local SSH together with virtcatl is kind of a self-contained solution. But I don't know, like the pros and the cons. I mean, if the local SSH is really like from security perspective is much less recommended than just thinking loud about breaking stuff.
Yeah, does actually Versatile SSH local works on Windows?
To be honest, I did not try. I don't have a Windows machine around right now. I would suppose so.
I will be a little bit surprised, to be honest, but
I saw people asking more about Mac rather than Windows.
yeah, both. I mean, my question is for both, but I don't know if I recall correctly, the implementation of local SSH is really Linux.
At least from downstream perspective, we never received any issues about that from customers. So downstream, we don't build the native client at all. It's only the local client, and we never received any issues up until now. So I don't think it's an issue, but I can try.
Yeah, but I don't know if customer really use VirCTL. Or do we? I don't know, it looks more like a developer.
Yeah, well, I mean, let's keep upstream and downstream separate so we don't conflate. For the context of this, we're talking upstream. And I agree, Felix, that maybe we're making a mountain out of a molehill, and what we should do is just approach the KubeVirt dev mailing list and see if anybody responds. Sorry, Dennis.
I could also take this one step back and remove the deprecation, but I would still suggest to enable it by default, just so we don't have these small issues that have been reported by some of the users. I would say, namely the broken SSH agent. That's for at least for me, I never got it working without clearing the environment variable, for example. So I don't think it hurts to enable the local SSH by default, at least.
Yeah, but
I have no problem with calling. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I will still. Can we verify before if it works for Windows and Mac? Because right now, I think if the default is the Go native, so I mean, we spoke about downstream because we have probably customers that are using Windows and Mac, but yeah, before switching to default, I really would like to know if at least works on Windows and Mac. Yeah.
Felix, I have no problem with the language of calling it deprecated. Alice's point is very valid. We should check. But deprecated means we are definitely getting rid of it at some point, so plan ahead. Whereas we could just make it non-preferred and leave it. I don't have a strong feeling one way or the other. I think that comes back to more fact finding and the results of what people's response is.
Yeah, sure. So I will take it to KubeVirt Dev, and I will try to run it on Mac and Windows.
I just want one small clarification is when we say deprecated, I think it's fine to mean that we are discouraging anyone to use it anymore, but we are not. It's not. I mean, it's not forbidden yet. That could. This is what deprecated means, at least for me, because there we have, in general, in an API, for example, in V1, we have a problem to remove things that already exist in order not to break anyone. So we call deprecation as a sign of please stop using it because it's not safe, bad. There are better alternatives, but if the client is still using it, then so be it. But and so if you intend to remove it completely, then it will go beyond deprecation. So the deprecation will say, I'm warning you now and for the next two version, it will be still there, but in the third version or something like that, I'm going to remove it, and you better use the alternative. But this is only if it's an API thing. If it's something behind the scene, like if it's a backend thing, then you don't need to say anything. It's like
people will shout at me all the time about regarding our command line as an API because people don't think of it as that. But I think we should strive to not break compatibility with existing stuff. You're absolutely right, Edward, about the language, the actual meaning of deprecated. It just means unfavored, but you know, it also can imply that maybe it will go away. But you're right, we would actually have to say so.
yeah.
I mean, I think it's an interesting case because it's like it's a user-facing change, but on the other hand, if it works on Windows and Mac with the local client, then it's sort of also transparent change because users won't notice. So yeah, I'll have to verify that.
Cool beans. This also reminded me, I think Elias left the meeting, but we had a conversation a little while ago, that was last year, about do we have any documentation around breaking changes to backporting? And I wasn't able to find anything, which also sounds like something we should, the verbiage around what does deprecated mean to us, I think, is what triggered this. And this is probably something that's worth just clarifying as part of our KubeVirt documentation.
We should definitely clarify that, but as an absolute rule, when we use semantic versioning, breaking changes must not ever occur in a Y stream or a Z stream. So that's breaking changes are limited to major versions only, usually. So you would never backport a breaking change.
Oh, okay. Well, where do we have that written down?
That's implied by our versioning system, but we should definitely write that down. You're absolutely right. Just because I'm sitting here like saying so doesn't mean it's true, right?
Okay. I don't know if anyone has a better memory than me. Probably do. What we were talking about specifically with there's the backporting breaking change. It was something like pretty. It was a bit of a non-event, but it was a breaking change to a backport. Does anyone else remember?
Yeah, I think there is I mean, I had one proposal that added like the life cycle of a feature, something like that. So I think it's written there, but that proposal needs to be converted to actual to a document, like not a proposal. That's like an action item to work on. And there it's defined there that what was said here, like you cannot break once you are in V1 or once you are GA. But there are exceptions, like, and we used exceptions from time to time. Like there are exceptions that says if there is if we identify that something is just not used, we ask the community for a long time, yada yada yada, then we can do it. I think we used it only, at least I know about Slurp that we removed this one. So I don't know if this is what you meant, but it should be
But like
very,
you said,
very
Eddie,
rare.
that still needs to be ratified, right?
Yeah. It's so it's written. That was one of the feedbacks from that lifecycle document, that proposal, that to every rule we have to have exceptions, something like that. So yes, it's there. But this one, this document, yeah, must go into some not as a proposal, just should be like a documentation that people can follow.
Sure, community rules. So yeah, the only exception I would ever make, like you said, Eddie, would be if we had a critical security vulnerability that just absolutely mandated that we had to break the a change. That would be the one exception I can think of.
Awesome. Double awesome, because it's something that Eddie's going to do. It's on his to-do list. It's not on mine.
If you trust me, yes.
Oh, I trust you with my life, Eddie. Let's hope it never comes to that. We've got 4 bugs that we need to have a quick look at. I think I know who to direct the last one to, but these other ones. Before we continue, Arel, is Arel here? I think he was. Looks like he's dropped. I wanted to ask him how he found his reining in of DosuBot. I'll have to catch him offline. All right, this one with regards virtctl guestfs doesn't use workload toleration.
I need to read it, but you can assign it to me.
Okay, thank you, Alice. Okay, thank you for that. Bug author open fix PR. I did not see that. We got one. Oh, this one. It seems it's a machine ID, and machine ID didn't exist.
That error message is not important.
Okay.
The machine ID is coming always.
What does Dosibot say? Help. Talking about creating a machine ID.
Andrew, you can assign me. I think I saw something very suspicious. And I know something about it.
AI is not being very useful. Thanks, Lubo. And we had this one, which has already got someone looking at it. Perfect. Oh, we need that. So that brings us to the bottom of our agenda for today, I think. If someone's added anything, and they have not. So we'll close it there, unless anyone has anything that they'd like to ask or comment on or add at all in the last 10 seconds before we wrap up. Perfect. So you will see emails about the 1.6 unconference in 3 weeks' time, DRA invitation for next Tuesday, invitation for the Google Summer of Code, and something about Felix's deprecation, hopefully. Wonderful. Thank you all for being here and everything you do in the community. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of the day, and we'll see you all next week. Thanks a lot.
Bye.
You.
See ya. Thank you.
All right.